Hey everyone, Ulria here, and today I'll be looking at Mythic Rasha'nan. Now this is a 2 tanks, 5 healers, 13 DPS encounter. There isn't really a tight DPS check, but there's a decent chunk of AoE damage going out, so 5 healers just makes your prog a lot cozier. So before we go into the nitty gritty of the fight, let's take a look at the flight routes the boss can take. There's only 2 variations and all depends on whether he flies to the left or to the right at the start. This one is completely RNG, you cannot bait it, you cannot predict it. However, every other position is pretty much set in stone. What you see right now is the first variation, and this will be the second one. They're pretty much mirrored, it all just depends on whether he goes left or right at the start. Now how you deal with him flying is on the first, third and fifth movement you want to use Warlock Gateway because those are the longest you have to move. After the gate you place a Windrush Totem, you use Stampeding Roar, you use Evoker's Time Spirals, and you use the rescues for your priests specifically. Because once the priest gets rescued, they can also leap of faith anyone else who's struggling with movement, such as paladins or DKs. Now there's a bit of a difference in the flight pattern from Heroic, in the sense that on Heroic he's gonna stop midway around here and start his cast. You would kick him and then he would fly forwards. However, on Mythic he just goes from the initial spot to the first position. So that's why you want to be real quick, because every start of the phase he's gonna start it with Web Reef, which is your group soak. Now you want everyone to be in this because the more people are in, the less damage you're gonna take, and the less of a strength the pull in is gonna have. There's two really big changes from Heroic to Mythic on how this fight works. The first one would be the waves. Now on Heroic you have 2 waves only. One goes to the left, one goes to the right. On Mythic however, you're gonna have 3 of those. One is always gonna go to the back, one is always gonna go to the left, slightly angled, and one is always gonna go to the right, again slightly angled. This creates a triangle now. So your people kinda need to identify their wave pretty fast and just move out as per usual, and you have your raid in between so no one gets stunned. The other big mythic change is the webs that you place. Now whether you choose to place them behind the raid or to the side, that doesn't really matter, it's up to your guild. However, once the first web gets broken, all those 4 people that place the webs are now going to get connected, as you can see here. This is just a different type of web that you can see, and it's going to create a shape in between those 4 people. After 4 seconds, this web is going to pop, and anyone standing within the box or whatever shape you make is going to get one shot. So how you deal with this is you have those 4 people just linger around in the back or to the side until their web pops and they can come back into the raid after that. The small lads or the green circles, they really do truck on Mythic because once they spawn they're gonna almost instantly infest by the person who spawns them. Now you obviously don't want to be in another person's green circle. As you can see, I believe I was in someone else's there, so I took a lot of damage, but you can still see how my health keeps dropping. As you can also see here, I popped my bark skin and I popped a health pot just to survive. You do definitely want to ensure that you have a personal for this point or call out for an external, and just be ready to slam a health pot if you really need to. Now there's multiple ways to also deal with the ads. What we did within our guild is we had a raid stack in the middle and the people with the ads just go outwards. Now I think there is a better way to deal with this because sometimes it's gonna overlap with the frontals. So what you would do is you're gonna have your raid stack on one side and you're gonna have your ad people always go to one side, so say that's gonna be left. Instead of also going right as we did here. The people who are targeted with ads or the webs, they cannot get targeted by the frontal. It's everyone else who kinda baits it away from them. So this way you have those people be pretty much safe from the frontals, you have your raids over here, just bait them and then move in after the green circles have popped and AoE those down. Now remember, you don't want to go too far out because you want the ads to be kinda stacked, especially if you have Fury Warriors, they're just gonna Blade Storm the hell out of them. Now the whole fight is basically revolving around the different main phases, and every main phase has different overlaps. The fight is pretty chaotic. However, I'm going to pay attention to a couple of the overlaps which are a bit trickier to deal with. As you can see, this is the first flight position that the boss takes, and there is the webs into the wave overlap. How we deal with this is, as per usual, and as you want to have your raids stacked near the boss, you're going to have the wave people or the web people go out, break their webs, and move a bit forward, so they create their kill zone over here. No one should be in this, or else they're gonna die, and the person who gets targeted by the wave over here, he goes behind those people, so he doesn't place the wave on top of them, he doesn't stun them, but he also isn't within the kill zone over here. So those people with the webs just wait for seconds, they move back into the raid, that person spawns his wave, and then he also moves into the raid. As I already mentioned, you get the first, third, and fifth fly. On the second and the fourth, it's just going to be sideways and it's a lot shorter, so you just use movement speeds and you go to your soak spots. Now this I would consider probably the hardest phase of the fight, because there's a lot of kind of difficult overlaps over here. You're going to start off with waves, so those people are going to spread as per usual. And then you're going to go into the webs instantly. So since you don't really have space behind you, what we had is the first webs are going to go to the left. Now if the wave person was too close to the raid, trust me, you want those people to do whatever they need to, the web people, to get out of the raid. Whether that's going to be riding the wave, doesn't really matter. Just get out and don't overlap your webs, because if you overlap, you're going to get linked to multiple, you're going to break a lot more than 4 at the same time, and this is going to do a lot of damage. So those 4 people go out, break their webs, wait with their kill zone outside of the raids. And here, you have almost instantly another set of webs. Now because the left one is taken, what we did is we have those people go to the right side. They go there, they're gonna snap their webs, and they're gonna stay out. This is, however, an overlap with the frontals of the boss. Now the raid wants to dodge left, away from where the webs are spawned. As you can see, a couple of people here probably just didn't go left as they should have. They went to the right where the kill zone is, so they died. Or the people with the webs just kinda got too close. As a general rule of the fight, if you have to walk over anything on the ground to dodge, whether that's going to be a web, a wave, or whatever, you want to pick the ground effect that's gray, aka the one from the webs, because the green puddles really do truck. And this is pretty much a bad part of the fight, because there's going to be a lot of puddles around where you're going to play the boss, and sometimes he's going to clear them, sometimes he's not going to, so you kind of have to pray for a good spawn. I've been hearing a lot of complaints about the tank buster on this boss, and I agree. You have to taunt at a very specific time. That's going to be the start of the first cast, so ensure that the second buster goes on the second tank. However, sometimes he even applies 2 stacks from 1 hit, which we don't really know why this happens. So just watch your tank's health, give them some love, give them some externals. And what we found the most useful is, if you have a blood DK, have them solo most of the fights. Their death strike pretty much negates the dots, and it's just a lot more easier than having your other tank do anything if they're not blood DK. And it's a pretty simple fight overall, but as I mentioned, it's very chaotic. This is where the difficulty of Rasha'nan kind of comes from, because you have a lot of stuff to avoid, a lot of overlaps, you have to kill ads, you have to watch your feet, you have to go out with webs. Here you can see a very funny web placement, because one person kind of went to the wrong side, however we did manage to salvage it. Now when you get to the 5th stage, or the 5th flight point, 5th platform, whatever you want to call it, this is going to be your enrage. He's going to start channeling a 30-second spray cast, and this is going to give you 30 stacks of the dots. So this is where you want to use everything and ensure that you kill him before he kills you. And that's it for Rasha'nan. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments below or join my Discord. You can also ask me there. You can find a lot more resources as well. Thanks for watching and have a good one.